Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. From the island of Baralompo, the most populated, if I can say, right? Island in Makassar, city of Makassar. I'm with two gentlemen and two ladies. Several countries in the ASEAN country. But I will let them to explain about their objective and who are they and where they come from during their presence in Baralompo Island. So I think you first, name, your position here, and who are they?
Hi everyone, my name is Radia Fatia Taruna. I'm the project coordinator of Weathering with You, and with me right now is my teammates, some of my teammates. So we are from several Asian countries. I'm from Indonesia specifically, and beside me is...
I am Ben, I am from the Philippines.
Philippines.
I'm Jonathan, I'm from Malaysia.
And I'm from Indonesia. So West is like the community development division, and then is the program development division.
Well, I'm from
the
chemistry.
It's like a team, yeah.
A diverse team.
Diverse, yeah. So in the why Baralompo and what are the objectives of the program? Maybe Ben or Jonathan?
Yeah, sure. I think for just a bit summary of Weathering with You, it's basically a capacity strengthening project for the island of Baralompo. Because I think if we go back to the conceptualization phase of our project, we were thinking of like a very vulnerable island. And since this island is actually densely populated, right? And we've also heard of like the numerous threats that come into the island, like flooding, and also they're very vulnerable because of the lack of electricity or power in the island. So these are just some of the things that we've considered. That's why we selected the island. And upon considering all of these factors, we tried to be very innovative of our solutions and how we could help and actually create impact towards the island. So what we really did was to think of the most low technological innovations or solutions.
Apply something like that, yeah?
Yeah.
So
what are these solutions?
Yeah.
So we're basically proposing three, or we actually are making now three solutions, mainly the benchmarkers for the sea flood markings. This is very low technological, doesn't need really any power generating. We will just be installing so that the people would be aware of the dangers of the flood as it rises. And then secondly would be the posters that we have installed in some of the institutions here in the island. And lastly is the workshop. Apart from the two solutions, of course, we would want to integrate them, these solutions, into their everyday lives, and that is what the workshop is for.
So who installed the equipment or facility? You mentioned about markers?
The posters, yeah. The flood markers.
Yeah, the flood markers.
Benchmark.
Alright.
The sea level benchmark that I mentioned before. Maybe I'm gonna like add a little bit. So this project was inspired by my previous research in UNESCO, under UNESCO and Tanoto, for a 12-week research. And from the research finding, we found that the people here already know what climate change is, but some of them have a little misconception. That's why we want to like try to connect them with experts to help them like acknowledge what climate change is actually. And that's why besides the workshop that Dan just explained, we also have like sea level benchmark. Now sea level benchmark will be like some kind of standardization for the island, so that they can know the patterns of the tides.
Sea level, right?
Mean sea
level
in Baralompo. So people can, so it can help for community in Baralompo in infrastructure making. For instance, the port, if I'm not mistaken, the port, drainage, and their houses to be much more higher than the benchmark that we installed in their island. And then it also can help as like climate advocacy. For instance, if like any researcher comes, they can just refer to the sea level benchmark, and then they can know the characteristic of the island in Baralompo and how much climate change impacts this specific island. And also in our poster, we also included like some barcode which connects to the BMKG or Climatology Agency in Indonesia, that will give them information on updated weather and also climate here
real time.
In
so
real time.
in the poster, there is kind of information inside. In the poster.
Oh, okay. So
maybe John, or the content or the information provided.
Yes, actually, I translate the poster to the Indonesian one. So
Oh,
our
okay.
project research. See, he's the one that arrange all the information, like the data and everything. I translated it in Indonesia because I really emphasize how the community will understand about what we are doing. Because sometimes, even though it's Indonesian, it's like not really familiar with the community. So I think it's really important to have the localization in the poster. So I try to make it more familiar with the community, and I tried about the poster. So the poster basically about how climate change is it, like how they know through the what is it called, science, climate change and everything, and what they should do if there's something, the impact of the climate change happen, and how we connect the science that people know and what the scientific, I mean, everything's scientific, but the climate change impact has this, and what the community in daily life, in daily life, how they got the impact. We try to connect what they know and what the research is, and then they will like, this is the impact of climate change, and I feel it every day. Like this is the science.
Did they mention that they experienced some change during last?
I think because it is coastal communities, we often feel like the tide is really big, and the local head yesterday said about that when the tide is really high, the water is come to the front of the yard and everything. I'm trying to say that this is the impact of the climate change, and that's the sign. And I stated that to the poster, like this is one of the signs, and you already feel this, but you don't know about that. This is the climate change. So I think I want to the people. I mean, as a team, we want people to know that climate change. Sometimes it's a big concept. The communities, I mean that's quite maybe global people said about that, but communities don't know the climate.
Sure.
Just to understand about small thing you face every day is climate change.
Yeah, there's so many terms, so many definitions
that sounds so
confusing,
bizarre.
right?
Yeah.
Mitigation, adaptation, right?
Yeah, adaptation.
And how they,
weather, climate,
responding to the change and so on.
Yeah.
Did you find did you meet like from community or stakeholders here in Baralompo?
I think met a lot.
We did a lot
Research
through the
here.
planning process of this project. I met a lot of community, especially when I did the research. I did an in-depth interview with a lot of people here in Baralompo from different ages, starting from the youth, elderlies, and also with different job occupations.
Yeah, at least now I think you guys lucky because you may observe the condition here, reality of the so-called small island of Makassar. John, how do you compare? I mean, from your perspective as a young man from Kuala Lumpur,
Urban boy.
urban boy. How do you read the condition here? Is it like any challenge for them as a small island?
Yeah, actually, from our arrival yesterday, even just getting to the island here was an eye opener, because you see the struggle that people go through to earn a living, and then climate change affects those who are the poorest, right? And they are not the ones who actually cause climate change, but they are also impacted. And then it just dawned on me like they need to be taught about climate change, even though they are not the ones destroying the planet, but they have to be resilient in all of this. And coming here and seeing the people is like, you feel empowered at the same time when you empower them, because they show that they are very resilient, and whatever is coming, they're still standing here in the island.
Do you think capacity building or capacity strengthening is important because of the existing capacity maybe not suit with the change, right?
Yeah.
They need to enhance their capacity. All right. So then I suggest. I think if you have something like experience of your country from Philippines, because you also have a lot of small islands, right?
Archipelago like
Archipelago. This is my last question.
Do you think that there is something like how can I say? What can I say? Like information from the community here that they feel suffering without any like support from the government or lack of support from outside, or they're just struggling by themselves. Do you observe that?
As
Here,
my observation,
Yeah.
I do think the government would actually play the major players here for the people to actually be resilient about climate change. Yes, we can do something about climate change, but more often than that, as John has said, it's not the island here that contributes a lot to the climate change, but they are the most impacted. So what I'm trying to say here is that yes, the government really plays a lot. I think we could improve a lot on infrastructure, on knowledge sharing more about on the citizens here in the island, and how we can actually cope with them. I think they should build the foundations, but also it would be very much supplemented by several groups like our group, which is a very small group who actually wants to try to create some impact on the island. I think we also play a small role in strengthening the capacity of this island towards small island resilience.
Yes, because sometimes it's difficult if they consider that okay, I need money, I need support from outside.
Yeah,
they don't realize that knowledge is more important.
Yeah,
right?
knowledge is very important.
Yeah. So lastly, your conclusion from the whole process with this weathering with you, and do you have something to say?
So maybe from my conclusion from preparing all of this, one thing that I really highlight is that the local government here really is really concerned about the awareness of the community here, and she really support us in making this kind of project because she really wants the community to be exposed to knowledge and also experts that could help them be much more aware. For instance, like the local government told me yesterday, the ship owner, when it was like a big storm, they still wanted to cross, but when in reality they shouldn't be doing that because it could like risk a lot of people's life, and that's why she felt like from our project it could actually give a lot of impact for the community in Barang Lumpur, and that's why from the conclusion I feel like that throughout the process a lot of people really support this project in realization.
I think I might be at some because I believe that knowledge is power, and I hope that the community also get more power to aware about this is like everything that changed their life, like that the livelihood is everything for them, and maybe some of the fishermen could not go to the sea anymore and it decreased their economy and anything. I hope they know that's not their fault, it's not the God's destiny or anything. Someone did bad things to them, I mean like everyone, and it's not the one, they are not the one to destroy the planet, and I hope they know that they were with the knowledge that they gain power to resist, to tell more about their experience and connect with people to echoing more or amplifying more their voices. So we can not the better life, but we have to provide their rights to have a good life, and also all the people that will have to take responsible and give justice to everyone.
John, add more?
I think to add, it's just like if you yourself don't have the knowledge, you can work with other people. And this is what happens with this project. We don't have people who are knowledgeable in climate change, but we also have. And we bring all these people together and you can see an impact and result. And I hope that it's fruitful and it lasts.
I think everything has been said already, but just to really emphasize that knowledge can really go on a long way. With knowledge, you create skills, and skills that make you more resilient.
I think for me, this is very, very important to consider that knowledge is the foundation of the initiative, like how they plan and so on.
But the most important thing is how to encourage people or community to analyze their situation now, what's happening and how they, experience the big waves, strong weather, right? And this is how we try with you guys. I mean, in weathering with you, in order to strengthen the capacity of local community or local villagers here in Baralongo, right? Salam dari Pulau Baralongo.
Bye.
Bye.